Hi everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. Thanks for joining me. Well, you'll notice by the background that I'm not in my normal setting, and I'm at a neighbor's house, and I'll tell you why. So for all the backyard gardeners like myself, there comes a point in time where eventually you're going to run out of space. I've run out of space for the following reason. So I have some carryover winter-spring plants that are just getting ready to be finished, and I'm starting my spring-summer plants. So I have 2 seasons of crops that are overlapping. And the bottom line is my wife has cut me off. She will not let me take any other space in the backyard. And that's a common dilemma for backyard gardeners. You just simply run out of space, and I have. So at this point in time, I do have a great neighbor. He's a little camera shy today. His name is Tony, and you'll see him in future episodes. But Tony and his family go away for the summer, okay? And he has been gardening, but he has a beautiful garden here, a raised garden that I'm going to show you in a second. And he is not planning on planting that garden this year because he's going to be away for a little time. And he's agreed to gift and barter with me his garden, and in exchange we'll grow some stuff together. I'm going to introduce him to the Executive Gardener channel, and hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him here in the next episode. And I'm going to share some of my crops with him. So when he returns in the late summer or fall, I'll be able to save some of the peppers and some of the other vegetables that you'll hear about that are growing here that can be frozen. But in addition, Tony's a big fan, as his family is, of dill pickles. And I'll show you what my plan is for pickling cucumbers in this garden. So again, for every gardener watching this, the greatest challenge you have at times is either overplanting or space. Again, I haven't overplanted, but I've run out of space. So we're going to do this. And if you have a neighbor or a neighborhood that is not using a certain part of the yard they have, you may want to consider that. You may want to talk to them about putting a raised bed in their garden. You can teach them to garden. In addition, you can kind of share crops that you grow there, and eventually they can take it over on their own. So let me show you what this garden looks like. So this coming spring, summer, I'm going to be growing things in this garden that I won't be growing in my other garden. And part of the reason is that I have a little bit more space here. So I'll show you exactly what I'm doing planting in Tony's garden. So the first garden that Tony's built, you'll see, is a raised bed garden. And this raised bed garden has set fallow for about 18 months. It hasn't been grown on. Now what Tony's done is, so he doesn't have to weed, he basically puts about 5 to 6 inches thick of wood chips in this bed. Those wood chips, as you know, break down and they turn into the soil. So this bed is about 10 by 18 feet, maybe 10 by 20 feet, as you'll see here. And what he's done here is he's fenced up the entire garden with posts and a bit of a fence. You'll see what that fence looks like, but that keeps out squirrels, rabbits, and all of the critters that want to get into the garden. Of course, it won't keep out birds, but we're not going to be growing crops in here that birds have any interest in, like tomatoes. So we're going to be growing a lot of crops here. So let's take a look. So as you look in the garden, and I'll step into the garden right now. It's really thick with wood chips, but to start with, we're going to be growing some honeydew melon. Okay, we're going to be growing some zucchini and some spaghetti squash. Now, spaghetti squash, if you live in Houston, and zucchini typically don't do well. This is an experiment. I may have to pull it out. But they usually get the vine borer, which destroys them, so we'll see what happens this time. But long story short, I'm also going to be getting 2 different varieties of cantaloupe as well. But as you know, those plants vine out, and they need space. So I'm sitting at the end here of the garden. Take a look at the raised garden, and you'll see all the room. So the plan is to have these grow, and then certainly vine out all the way through there. They'll grow on the mulch, and we should have some good crops. So the other thing Tony's done is he's got irrigation systems. You'll see there's sprinklers all around the garden. So they should be going off once a day, I believe, or maybe twice a day. So we do not have to worry about watering it. So, and then of course the mulch will help keep the soil relatively moist. So that's that. In addition, what Tony has here is he has 2 beds that are about 3 by 8, 3 by 10, and We will plant these up as well. As you can see, he's got some pepper plants growing there, but that's that. And again, it has that same border around it that keeps most of the pests, rabbits, squirrels, etc. out of the garden. Same thing, another bed that he's got 3x8. Now, we did already plant this yesterday, and what you'll see there is we have some seedlings, some eggplant seedlings that I've grown from seeds, and we got a really good rain last night. They should do pretty well in the garden. So 2 3x8 gardens should do very well, and a 10x20 garden. So what I'm going to do lastly, and the big thing that Tony and his family like, are my dill pickles. We make a lot of pickling cucumbers. I'm going to be using this outside barrier as a trellis. So I'm going to be planting pickling cucumbers all around the perimeter of this garden, and they will trellis on that outside type fence. My plan this year, if I'm lucky, is to make at least 30 to 40 jars of dill pickles, okay, all from my own pickling cucumbers. As you'll see here, Tony also has a beautiful garden that he does on his own, and this has kind of replanted itself. As you'll see here, he's got some parsley and other herbs. He's got basil and certainly dill. So all of this dill that he has here, it's gone to flower, but has seeded itself because these flowers have dropped seeds. So you definitely need a lot of dill to make dill pickles. I have a lot of dill at my place too, but together we should have plenty of dill to be able to make dill pickles. So that's it. These are raised garden beds. We will plant out this summer, completely irrigated each of them, and we should have a great garden. So my next episode, I will introduce you to Tony. But again, if you have a friend that's not using a backyard, and so many people I know do nothing with their backyards, or maybe they've tried to garden once and they gave up because everything died, show them your expertise. Help them garden and get them and show them how fun gardening can be. So Tony already knows how fun gardening can be, but he won't be here. So I will grow for him. We will share the harvest. That's it, folks. So I'm going to bring you back next week, I believe, and give you an update on us planting some of the pickling cucumbers around the perimeter of the fence. So I'm real excited. I thank Tony for sharing his land that he won't use this year, or his garden beds, and we'll go from there. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next time, it's Jeff, your executive gardener. Bye for now.